the senior advocate here, Mr. Adeshina, seems to have disagreed with what Mr. Alobo was saying of whether that case is in line with the doctrine of separation of powers.
Yes. You see, the judiciary, out of the three arms of government, is the only arm that has an inbuilt dispute resolution mechanism, or if you like, inherent disciplinary mechanism. And that is why the drafters of the Constitution specifically established the National Judicial Council under Section 153. And it is to guarantee the independence of the judiciary. It is to guarantee the autonomy of the judiciary. While a judicial officer is not immune from any sanction, that sanction will be meted out by the same institution. And as soon as it is meted out, once you are dismissed as a judge, you are no longer a judge. And then you can stand, with your hands at your back in the dock. Nobody at that time will equate you with the judiciary or with the institution. And so the comparison between this case and that of the trial of the Senate president, with very profound respect to my good friend, whom I know very well, are not the same. There is no such inbuilt mechanism in the legislature as you have here. And nobody is saying that a judicial officer cannot be tried by the code of conduct or even by the court. Within this fight against corruption, this nation will confirm that a good number of judges have been dismissed by the National Judicial Council. Some judges are standing trial as we speak before our law courts after the intervention of that National Judicial Council. So the point we are making is this, and this is the whole process of constitutionalism. Process. The process is much more important than the act itself.
Mr. Adeshina, in summary, are you saying that this is unlawful? Are you saying that it does not follow due process?
I'm saying that it doesn't follow due process.
Is it lawful?
It's lawful for the state to want to try anybody, but the process of trial must be followed. And if I can say this, a petition is drafted and sent to the NJC.
Okay.
The NJC sits on it, and recommendations are made. If it's in respect of a judicial officer of the Federation, that recommendation goes to Mr. President.
Okay.
And if it has to do with the CJN will want the resolution of the Senate, 2/3 majority.
Okay. Let me quickly get Mr. Ologbondiyan's view, because his party has strongly come into the fray in this matter. And if all that was said in that matter is correct, okay, another senior advocate of Nigeria has spoken to us on this matter. Before I go to Mr. Ologbondiyan, that's Mr. Femi Falana. And these are his views. We had earlier a telephone interview with him. Take a listen, everyone.
I will honestly would like to call on the government, or rather advise the government, to withdraw the 6-count charge already filed before the Code of Conduct Tribunal, because it cannot fly. As far as I'm concerned, it is going to be a prosecutorial misadventure, in the sense that there is already a judgment of the Court of Appeal to the effect that a sitting judicial officer in Nigeria will have to go through a disciplinary process set in motion by the National Judicial Council before he can be arraigned in court, after he may have been indicted and recommended for removal. That judgment has not been set aside. For that reason, I do not think the charge filed by the government, the charge ought not to have been filed. I think the petitioner ought to have been advised to approach the NJC with respect to the petition.
All right, then. Let's go to our Abuja studio. We have another senior advocate of Nigeria. It's a legal debate that we need to learn from tonight. So we have Professor Tahir Maman. He's a senior advocate of Nigeria and the Vice Chancellor of Base University. Thank you so much, Professor, for coming on tonight. What are your views on this one? We've been hearing a lot of legal opinions on the case. Is it in the right direction or the right steps taken?
Well, let me say, I'll start with the general point that this is definitely a very sad period for the legal profession, and coming not long after what has happened or what's happening to the president of the bar. And so that's really a very sad moment. And then even for the country, because the Chief Justice of Nigeria is the head of the profession and plays a very major role in the affairs of the country. And looking back, actually, even to the time shortly after our independence, the judicial branch had played a major stabilizing role in the affairs of the country, and that particularly both during the military and the civilian era, especially in settling a lot of intra-party and inter-party and intergovernmental affairs. So if the Chief Justice is going through what is going through now, the office of CJ is something of a worry. Now, however, we need to separate the facts from the law and then the politics. A lot of what we've been hearing, it's a lot of politics. And what I find actually is a silver lining in the whole saga is the importance of rule of law in our affairs. A major plank of the rule of law is the supremacy of the equality before the law. And all these underscore the fact that there's no person, no matter his position, who is above the law, irrespective of the final outcome of the problem we are going through at the moment. So this is, for me, the general point which we all must understand. I sympathize with the Chief Justice of Nigeria, a gentleman to the core, a person who has been very supportive of the anti-corruption war since the present government came in, and since he became the Chief Justice of Nigeria, he's extremely supportive. So for him to be on the wrong side of the law, as it were, as it appears, is something which nobody should be happy about. But as I said, we need to understand the position of the law on this matter, which is we have a code of conduct prescribed by the Constitution, and then also complemented by the law. And this code prescribes clearly people who are subject to the court, which include judicial officers and officers of the courts and other members of the public service of Nigeria. And then it also prescribes the time frame within which and the periodicity, how frequent filings are supposed to be made about asset declaration. And then if there's a breach, there's an institution, an organ to which reports are to be made or applications are to be made, which is the court itself, and then a tribunal.